Good day, grade 11s. Today we are doing a tilted prism with a cut through the base. Like I said to you before, the first thing that we need to do is read the question. The front view and auxiliary view of a right square prism is shown in the figure. The prism is cut by an inclined plane VT. Draw the following views of the solid: the given front view, the sectional top view, the sectional right view, as well as then project the true shape of the cut surface. Show all necessary construction and hidden detail. Now, to start this drawing, I take you back to what I said to you the last time. As soon as we've got a cut solid, the first thing we got to do is we need to make that solid stand flat. By me saying what I'm saying now, I can actually show you on the program, which is much easier than on the drawing board. So that is what I'm talking about. So we now need to sort out how are we going to draw this square as the top view. Okay, so if I just go 2 steps back, and I have already prepared those two that I'm talking about. So for me to start with the prism standing flat is I need to draw the square at either a 30-degree angle here, 60 degrees that side, or the opposite way, 60 degrees here and 30 degrees here. Now, if I look at the question, I can see that I've got two solid lines on the side. And if I look here, remember I'm looking now from the bottom to see the front view, which means in the left-hand side, these three lines will be solid lines. On the right-hand side, these three lines will be solid lines. Okay? And then these two lines will be hidden detail. If we then look to the left again and we look at the question, this one here will then be the way that we have to draw this. So if I just go and delete that part, what I then got to go and do is I need to tilt this. So on the AutoCAD, it's much easier to tilt a solid than it would be on your drawing board. But what we need to do is we need to draw a 60-degree line. From there, I then got to draw an arc from that point with that as my center and to that 60-degree line. So that 60-degree line could be much further. Only when I've got that first point is when I know where that point will be. So again, from that point to the center to there, there's my arc for that one, as well as then the last one will be, that is my starting point, that will be the center point for the circle, and that will be, now I have done that front view and can then project the views like I've shown you in the previous lesson. What I have done is I've actually prepared this drawing before now. So the reason for that is two ways. I want to talk about how we're going to label the cutting plane, as well as I have not done the right view in this case, I've done the left view, because there's something very important that I need to discuss with you as to the part that falls away when we cut a solid. Okay, so if we then look at what's happening, the cutting plane goes through the solid here, and I now need to find out how many points will I have on these different lines where the cutting plane goes through. If I then start corner 2 first, I will only have 1 point, because that is one line which is cut by the cutting plane. So that will create 1 point. The same here, corner 1 to 1, that is one line, and the cutting plane cuts through that, which gives us another point, 1 again. The same for this line from corner 3 to 3, only create 1 point. And then this one here is the tricky one, because a lot of people will say there's only 1 point, which it's not. I got to remember that this shows a square. That line there is not just a line, it shows a square. So if I look at it, it's actually line 3 to 4 and line 4 to 1. If you don't understand what I'm saying, I can just quickly draw this line across and show you. Oh, sorry, I've got to draw a line, not an arc. I draw that line across, and what I've just said, it cuts through line 3, 4, which is that point there, and it cuts through line 4, 1, which is that one there. Okay. The next step, now that we've identified those points, is we actually got to label them. It will just make the process so much faster when I have got them labeled. Okay. So let's just move that one above, because the construction line is going to go through it. Okay. Now the next step to remember, or which I do as a rule, is the two bases I've labeled with numbers, and then the cutting plane I'm going to label with letters. I am just going to start. Doesn't really matter where you start, but I'm going to start with this point here being point A. And I'm going to move towards the left. The question is now, which one is going to be B? This one or that one? Okay? If you now look, what line is closest to 3? Line 1, 1 or line 2, 2? Hopefully you've said line 2, 2, which means that will then be where the next point will be. So I will find B there. The next point closest to 2 will then be 1, 1, which will then create point C for me. And then, remember we said there's 2 points here, which then means this will be point D and E. Okay, I just want to move that away from that line so we can see that a bit clearer. And all I got to do now is, before I carry on, you can clearly now see that this is then the bottom base, the blue square. The red square is then the top square in both of these views. Okay, so now I can start with any point that I like, but let's just go according to the alphabet. That is point A. A lies between corner 3 and 3, which is that line there, 3 and 3. So that will be my point. The other thing that I want to say is as well, as soon as you find a point, do not just make a dot, because that dot is going to confuse you like you won't believe. Immediately, as soon as you find a point, label it. So I found A. To find B, so I'm obviously going to drop that point down. So I don't really need to find it. It is on corner 2, which means I'm going to label that 2B. Because it's going to both be corner 2 as well as on the section point B. To find C, I find that in between corner 1 and 1. There's corner 1 and 1. There's my point. Remember what I said? Try and label that point immediately. So that will be point C. And then the last two, like I've already shown you in the left view, to find D and E, I project it to the base. It cuts through 3 and 4, that position. It cuts through 1 and 4 on that position. And again, remember, label the point as soon as you find it. Hey. Sorry. Aye. So that will be one of the 2 points, and that will be the other. Now, if I remember or look back, that is C. So my next point could be here E, but it will be better to label this as D and this one here as E. And now, if you look at what I'm trying to say with making this drawing so much easier, I can now immediately go and join the points for the cutting plane or the surface. Immediately I can make it dark, because I know as a rule I will always see the cutting plane as a surface, which means that will be solid lines. Okay, I'm not going to finish the top view, because as you can see here, I've got the 3D model here on the side to explain what stays and what falls away for the top and the left view. So bear with me. Now, if we go to the left view, same thing that we need to do. We need to find the points again. A lies between 3 and 3. So if I then find A, will be between 3 and 3, which is that one there. Remember we said as soon as you find it, label it. So that one will be there, and that will also be A. The next one will be then B, which lies onto, remember. Just want to move that away from that construction line so it's a bit clearer. And then C will be on line 1 to 1. And as you can see, there's no thinking here. Because if I've labeled it correctly, C is found between corner 1, 1. There's corner 1, there's corner 1. So that's the only place where I can find C. Okay, so that will then be C. Then the last 2 points, remember, D and E, it's cutting through the base, which means it creates 2 points on the base. There's the 1 point, there's the other point, and again, I need to label them. Okay, this one will be E. This one will be D. Okay, and I've just said to you, as soon as I've got all of my points on the cutting plane, I can then join them from A to B to C to D to E back to A. Now, number one is I can kind of compare my two cut surfaces. Now, in this case, it's a little bit difficult to compare the two, but I can see that they are very similar. And also now I can say that's the reason why we got to draw the true shape, because we got to look perpendicular onto that surface. Okay, now we're coming to the part where we got to say what stays and what falls away. So if I can now use my 3D model on the right hand side, if I look from the top, I hope you agree with me that the top base will fall away. So if I look at that, remember what I said the other day. The part between me and the cutting plane will fall away, which means it is this blue model that needs to be taken away. Then I can take the cutting plane away. Therefore, this will then be my top view. Okay? And remember now, these are the lines that I will see. I just need to maybe show you a little bit of information here. Sorry, let's just make it a bit bigger. And let's show faces and edges. And let's go and make that smaller. Okay, now we can see. So those are the outlines. But now what do we do if we do not have a model like this? Let's go back to the drawing itself. That's where the labeling is going to help us. We can now see, I've just shown you which part falls away. Looking from the top, 2 to 2 will fall away. 2 to 2 will fall away. Therefore, that part will fall away, that part will fall away, that part will fall away. That part will fall away, that part will fall away, and that part will fall away. That then means if I then draw the top view, or try and then start finishing the top view, I need to draw this line in solid. Okay. From there then I can see C to the bottom one, C to the blue base. I need to draw that line. A to the bottom 3, which is the blue one again, remember? Which makes it easier, because if I look at that, the whole bottom base stays. So that will then be the solid lines that I'm seeing right here. I've got all of the solid lines. And now if I click on this and I make it transparent, there the other lines now come out. So that line there, that line there, that line there, I cannot see, which then means this line, and this line will become hidden detail. Okay, now my top view is complete except for the hatching. Now we've got to do the same for the left view. And now this is the mistake. This is what I really want to show you. If I now look from the left to see the left view, a lot of people now again let that top part fall away. But this is it. The rule is, if I look from the left, the part between me and the cutting plane falls away. So if I just put the cutting plane back here, and I put the other part of the model back, I look at the front view, okay, and I now look at that. I go to the left view, okay, look at what's happening. If I take that same part away, and I take the cutting plane away, and I make this a solid object again, can I see that cut surface? This is what I really want to show you. So that means this part must not be shown, but the other part must be shown. So if I now put the cutting plane back, look at what we're saying. The part that was here is between where I'm looking from and the cutting plane. Okay. And then as well, remember, I can now make it transparent so I can see all of the hidden detail lines. So in this case, there's only two hidden detail lines. That one there and that one there. Okay, so again, if I haven't got this model here, I can figure it out by just looking at my object here. If I look at it, corner 2 to 2 will be solid, which means, yeah, corner 2 to 2 will be solid. I will see that line there, and I will see that line there. I can also see 3 to A, the top 3, the red base, remember? And 1 to C, again the red base to C. Okay? And now the last bit that we're going to talk about then is this line here. Remember we said now, the only hidden detail lines will be that one there and that one there. So if I look in this direction, it is then 1 to 4 that I don't see, and 3 to 4 that I don't see. So I can actually cheat a little bit with the program. So I can take that line away there, and I can take that line away there. Again, if I haven't said it yet, I will say it. If you get an opportunity to do an AutoCAD course, please do that, because as you can see, yes, I have got about 20 years of experience on it, but it makes your life so much easier doing the work. So going back to what I just said, that needs to be hidden detail, and it also needs to be black. Okay, so if I then go to insert my hatching, I need to switch that off, I need to switch that off, and I can now go and say, okay, I want to do my hatching, and I want to do the hatching for, just to make sure that it's not picking up anything, it's two separate ones. This one here, I want it to be at 45, and I want it to be 4 millimeters apart, and I want it to be going, let's just, no, it's not that one, it's this one here. Ignore, no island detection. Okay, this is on the wrong layer, because again, if I now show you, the thickness of those lines are way too thick. So there's that one there, and then the last one, to put the hatching in again, I can actually do this, then I don't have to go through all of that again. This is where the hatching goes for this one. Enter. And I then switch my construction lines on, I switch my hidden detail lines on, and there we go. There is the answer. So if I then just take these vertical lines away, just so that I can make it clearer with regards to the answer, I am sure you can now see the answer a little bit better. Okay, so that is what we need to see when we ask you to show all construction. Because if you don't do this, you are always going to have a bit of a problem with this section. If you've got any problems with these questions, please ask your teacher when you get back to school. If you don't want to ask your teacher, you can always come to me. I'm at school on a Tuesday afternoon.